Hello, I'm Harry Riley. Welcome to Harry's 10-Minute Tales. This is called Death and Damnation by Harry Riley. This is fiction, and resemblance to anyone living or dead is coincidental. Listen, did you hear that, Gwen? No, what was it? I don't know, just a sort of echo. Sounded as though it was coming from deep underground. Hark, there it goes again. Husband and wife listened intently in the front room of their tiny stone cottage, trying to separate the constant growling of the spring storm from this other rumbling noise. It was getting close to midnight, and from their window up on the moor they could look down on the sprawling town of Belfield, with its myriad of twinkling lights in the distance. This was a comforting sight, as they were quite isolated with their nearest neighbours down in the valley below. Less than 5 miles away, Jeremiah Jenkins, borough surveyor, and several of his contractors were up at the Delbower Dam, desperately trying to assess if a hairline crack in the wall was going to need immediate attention, or if it could wait until daylight before they launched a major investigation. The man-made reservoir was over a mile long and had taken 3 years to construct. Nestling in its hillside setting, as spectacular as any Scottish loch, it was a haven for waterfowl and a tremendous feat of modern engineering. "What do you think, Jerry?" asked waterboard engineer Jim Barker, who had been dragged out of his local pub just as he was leading a darts championship match and hustled into a horse-driven gig for the race up to the dam. The surveyor answered his question with another one. "Have they opened the drainage valves to lower the water level yet?" "Yes, that's been done, but with this gale worsening by the minute, we have to do much more. I suggest we blast a large hole in the embankment on the west side of the reservoir to lessen the danger below. If the structure gives way, we are looking at one of the greatest disasters this area has ever known. Belfield town could be hit by 7 million gallons of flood water and completely wiped off the face of the earth in a single night. Over 1,000 lives could be lost and hundreds of homes and factories destroyed." "You could well be right," said Jeremiah, making an instant decision and ordering the gunpowder, already in the gig, to be placed in position. Ignition was tried several times, but failed owing to the prevailing wind and heavy spray. Jim Barker bravely insisted on climbing down to the bottom of the dam, to the valve house, to check the water pressure. He had almost reached the bottom when he heard a yell from above. The thin split in the head wall had opened up, and a spectacular flow of white water was cascading down the middle of the dam. One of the contractors was frantically waving a lantern to draw his attention, but he was too late. Within seconds a huge mountain of water came crashing down from a breach in the thick concrete, and the engineer was instantly swept off the ladder to his death. Huddled in their cottage above the dam, the Plowrights heard a deafening crack as the dam burst its bank, and knew beyond all shadow of doubt that their worst fear had been realised. "Oh my God, those poor people down in the valley, they don't stand a chance." "What can we do?" asked Gwendolyn. "I can't just sit here, I have to do something." "Wait, you'll be killed for nothing. Why waste your life? We're safe up here." But Noel was already donning his coat, and with a last kiss for his wife was out of the door and racing down the hillside, legs going like pistons and lungs bursting in the pitch blackness. There were hundreds of unrecorded acts of bravery that dark night, and Noel was just another one who, without a thought for his own safety, dashed into the unknown to challenge the mighty wrath of nature's greatest power. He was a strong, fit man, and reaching a small hamlet in the valley, just minutes ahead of the advancing torrent, he grabbed the bell rope in the chapel and rang a warning for all he was worth. This saved many lives as terrified folk in pyjamas rushed out into the street. Heeding his frantic advice to run for high ground, he banged on doors and helped an old woman onto the roof of her cottage, and then he rescued a baby from a bedroom window, throwing her down to parents waiting below. Seconds later, he too perished in the thundering spume as another lost soul in the valley's greatest disaster. A simple plaque in the chapel of Delbower village bears his name, along with many others to that night's heroic dead. Alone in her cottage, Gwendolyn Plowright watched in horror as the twinkling lights of the distant township faded and died, one by one. Nobody knows the real cause of the disaster. Some claim it was shoddy materials, and others who believed it was underground subsidence from lead mine workings. At a remembrance service following the tragedy, a bishop hinted darkly of mankind's punishment for interfering with the true pathway of God's water of life. But whatever the reason, it was a night of unspeakable horror, and even greater deeds of selfless charity. End. Note, in 1864 the Dale Dyke Dam burst, flooding Sheffield and Rotherham and taking many hundreds of lives.